Number one is your effective empathy has become more effective. Let me explain that. Let's imagine that there is a soldier on a battlefield and he has been wounded. Now, he still has empathy for other wounded soldiers, but he cannot help them because he himself is wounded. So once you get over your disability of wounds, that is to say that once you've been taken to the hospital and you've healed, now you not only have empathy for other wounded soldiers who are at this very moment being wounded on the battlefield, but you can actually help them. Your empathy can be put into action. So one of the signs that you are overcoming the abuse of a narcissist is that you are now able to help other people who are enduring the abuse of narcissists. That's what I'm doing at this very moment. Now, by the way, I'm still being shot at by narcissists. I think we always will be as long as we live, till the day we die. But because we've gone through that experience and now we've come out the other side of it, we see what they're going through. So here I am, pushing 70 years old, and I've got life experiences that I can draw from and share those things with you. From childhood, from teen years, from young adult, older adult. I've had experiences, some severe experiences with narcissists. And I've learned a thing or two, and I'm just sharing those things with you. Number two is you really don't care as much what other people think. One of the reasons that sometimes we get drawn into the narcissist web is because, well, we cared what other people thought about us, and this person was loving and kind, or pretended to be, and we fell for the love bombing. We fell for the grooming. They drew us in, and we felt like, oh, great, other people will think wonderful of me. This is especially my good friend here, or my love interest, whatever. But then it began to unravel, and the mask on the face of the narcissist began to slip. And you said, oh, no, now I see what's happening. But was it too late? Well, in a sense, it kind of was, because the damage has already been done. You've already been shot at on the battlefield, and you've been wounded. So you know all about that. But what you have learned is not to get yourself in that spot again, or at least try not to. I've been abused by several narcissists. It seems that each one teaches me a new lesson, and so I become more resilient. I become more battle hardened, so to speak. Number three is because of that we become more confident. We say to ourselves, I got this. That we've been through it, we know what it's like, and now we can go ahead with our lives. We don't need other people to sing our praises and tell us, oh, great, you survived a narcissist, even though it's nice to have other people there to support us and a shoulder to lean on. But we've got to that point where we don't need those shoulders. I mean, it's nice to have them. It's nice to have people support us, but we're more self-confident now. We've got it. The efforts of the narcissist to put us down and humiliate us, just not there anymore. At least it's not as severe as they were at one time. So that's an indicator. We're getting over the effects of the abuse of narcissism. Number four, kind of much the same thing, but a little bit different, is we don't fret as much. We're finding ourselves that we're not ruminating over those things that we went through and how we should have been more alert, and beating up on ourselves for not catching on to it, being so dumb that we would fall into that situation. When that ruminating begins to fade and we're not preoccupied with the abuse, which, by the way, is what the narcissist wants us to do. They want us to be ruminating all the time. They want to be inside our heads. That's their home. That's where they live. Kind of, I was going to say possession, but I'm not going to say that because that would offend some people. But yeah, it's almost like we're being possessed by the narcissist. But he's been exorcised. He's been kicked out. Time to go on. No more fretting. No more frustration. We've been there. We've done that. We got it. We've been through boot camp. I want you to stop and think about this for just a second. What is boot camp all about? The purpose of boot camp is not to harm the soldiers, but to toughen the soldiers so when they face the real battle, they're not shocked by it. I mean, they're already accustomed to it. So sometimes we go through narcissistic abuse, and that's the real battle, but we haven't been through boot camp. And so the real battle becomes our boot camp, so to speak. It has taught us. And now we have learned. And now we're not fretting so much because we're saying, you know, that was actually a learning experience. It wasn't a good experience. It wasn't justified. It was a horrible experience. This person is a bad guy, but hey, I did learn something from it. Learned a lot of things from it. Learned something about human nature. Number 5 is one of the indicators that we're overcoming the effects of abuse is we've learned to take control. We've learned to have more self-control. We're no longer controlled by the narcissist. We are now controlled by ourselves. We're self-responsible, which is what we're supposed to be. You know, we're supposed to take care of our health. We're supposed to mow our own grass. We're supposed to assume responsibility for ourselves if we can, for our own source of income to make it in the world. And the narcissist doesn't like that. He or she wants us to be solely dependent on him because, well, after all, they're the best things that ever happened in their opinion. But once we learn to take self-control, the narcissist hates that because, you know, it's kind of like Pinocchio is out there on his own. We're no longer tied to the strings of the narcissist. We are our own person. And we never were Pinocchio. We were just taken advantage of because we were a little bit gullible, because we were a little bit naive, maybe a lot naive, but because we just didn't expect people to behave like that. This person, this narcissist, wanted confidence. Okay, now we've learned. Now we've learned to take control, self-control, to be responsible for ourselves. Number 6 is we become more positive. And by that, I mean that, those fake motivational speeches we hear sometimes on YouTube or the books that we read, I guess they're fine. I guess they're okay. Many of them, some of them are almost cults. It bothers me immensely, but we now have a positive outlook on life because that weight of narcissistic abuse has been lifted. Here's an example. Not long ago, I used to like to go walk in a state park. Go out, walk up and down the hills, go on a hike. And to build endurance, one thing I would do is I'd put on a backpack and I'd put rocks in it. And I'd go out hiking with added weight on my back. And when I got back from the hike, typically wasn't that far. I'd go anywhere from 3 to 7 miles. And I'd take off that backpack, but man, the difference. It was kind of like I was walking on air. And then it occurs to me that's what it's supposed to be like. That's how you walk all the time. I mean, you don't walk around with a backpack. So think of a backpack full of rocks as narcissistic abuse. Once you get rid of that, once you take that off, once it's gone or largely gone, you have a more positive outlook. You have a lighter step because the weight is gone. That's an indicator that, hey, I'm getting over this abuse. I'm moving on with life. Number 7 is, well, just happiness. Happiness simply means happiness. Okay, what's happening right now? What's happening right now? We're happy with it. That's an indication, in my opinion, that we are overcoming or have overcome the effects of narcissistic abuse. We're happy. We're happy with the way things are going. We're no longer ruminating about all those things in the past. We're no longer living in the past. We're now living today. We're concerned about our health today, what we're doing today, what we're thinking today. We're thinking about today, not the past. And it's okay to learn from the past, but not to be obsessed with it, not to ruminate and allow it to control our lives. Number 8 is this: we feel simply more fulfilled. Now, I know some people who have been the victims of narcissistic abuse, and one of the frustrations they have is that once the narcissist gets inside their heads, they begin to wonder, was I even meant to live? I mean, I'm being abused by this person, maybe by more than one at the same time. And was I meant to exist? And is this the way you're supposed to exist? Does my life have a purpose? And they go through all these depressive thoughts. Once those dissipate, and once those become just a vapor that vanishes in the morning sun, that is a very strong indicator that you, my friend, are overcoming or have overcome the trauma of the abuse of a narcissist. Take a look at your screen. What you see are two rectangles. If you want this conversation to keep going, just click one of those rectangles and we'll keep talking. But if you're done, well, thanks for stopping by, and we will see you next time.